Deliberately, he concentrated on his right hand. He could see the hand vividly in his mind, the dark, curling hairs on its back, the whorls on the fingertips. He could feel the pulse in his hand and the blood moving through the palm into the fingers. His hand grew very heavy, throbbing as he concentrated on it. Joe shifted his concentration from one part of his body to another, and each time the effect was the same. His heart pounded and was bright red in his mind's eye. His lungs swelled and flattened as he breathed in and out. Cool. So cool. How long had it been? 2 joints a few minutes after noon, 2 joints he and Shank had split. 2 little cigarettes, hand-rolled in wheat straw paper and smoked rapidly, had been passed back and forth between them until there had been nothing left but 2 roaches. 2 tiny butts that they had stuffed into the hollowed-out ends of regular cigarettes and had smoked the same way. Just 2 joints, and they had gotten so stoned, so fly, that it seemed now as if the high were going to go on forever. With an effort, Joe pushed open his eyes and straightened up in the chair. The good thing about pot was that you could turn yourself on and off and on again and never lose control. Unlike beer or wine or whiskey that rocked you only to dull everything finally. And pot had it all over heroin or morphine or cocaine, the hard stuff that sent you on the nod and left you in a fog until it wore off and you were down on the ground. No, Joe Milani weightily concluded pot was so much better. No habit, no hangover, no loss of control. And it didn't take more and more of the stuff to get you high each time, no matter what the books said. Because the books were all written by people who didn't know, people who hadn't been there. Joe had been there, and he was there right now, and he knew. And he idly wondered what the time would tell him. There was a clock on the wall behind the cash register. By squinting, he could just about make out the numbers, nearly 3:30, which meant that he had been high for better than 3 hours on 2 little joints. And the 3 hours felt like at least 6, because when you were high, you noticed everything that was happening, and the time crawled by and let you stroke it on its furry back. He glanced at Shank, who hadn't moved since Joe's benevolent eye had last fallen on him. Then Milani gazed around the coffee house again and saw the girl. She was extremely pretty. Joe dwelled a long time on the girl, taking careful note of the brown hair verging on black, long, lovely hair falling very neatly to her shoulders. He studied the full mouth, slightly reddened by lipstick, and the clean, small hands whose slender fingers curled around the sides of a cup of cappuccino. Her enormous eyes were enhanced by a clear and lightly tanned complexion, and her bare forearms, covered by downy hair, were neither too heavy nor too thin. Joe searched her face, hoping she wouldn't turn toward him while he examined her. He tried to see through her, into her. She appeared to be out of place in the Palermo. Her simple attire of white blouse, dark green skirt, and flats was appropriate enough for a villager, but there was an aura about her that made Joe certain she didn't live in the area. She was hardly more than a few tables away from him, sitting alone at the window and doing nothing but looking pretty, but doing that quite well indeed. Joe leaned across the table and shook Shank by the shoulder. At first he aroused no response, then Shank's eyes slitted and his features assumed a what-the-hell-is-it-now expression. "Man," Joe Milani began. "Yeah?" "Dig." Joe nodded in the direction of the girl. Shank flicked, then turned back. "The chick?" Shank barely made the question. Joe managed his head up and down a half-inch either way. "What about her?" "Watch, man. I'm gonna pick her up." Shank took in the sight of the girl again, more closely this time. Then he shrugged. "You won't make it, man," he said. "You don't think so?" Shank shook his head slowly, his eyes dreamy, his face completely relaxed again. When he spoke, the words were spaced wide apart and enunciated precisely, as if he were rolling each syllable on his tongue in order to taste it. "Never, man. She is a pretty chick and like that, but she is also a very square chick, and she will put you into the ground if you so much as say hello to her. She will put you down so hard, you will have to crawl back to the table, man."